Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. There's only one significant area of concern that we have for this weekend into the early parts of next week, and that is some significant northerly and northwesterly swell that'll be moving into our central Atlantic waters to the east of Bermuda this weekend, and that will continue into early next week. Here's a look at the current conditions for today, and you'll notice that in the Gulf of Mexico we have some pretty quiet conditions, and quiet conditions also in the Caribbean Sea. Winds less than 20 knots, seas generally less than 8 feet, although there's some slightly higher seas offshore Colombia, 8 to 10 feet. The bottom line is that this trend is going to continue through my briefing period into early next week. In the Atlantic, today we've got some swell in our northeastern waters, mainly to the east of around 50 west. As we head on into Friday, the main weather feature is this cold front, which isn't particularly strong across our central Atlantic waters, some increasing winds behind it. But you'll notice the seas here, these are seas of 10 to 12 feet. These are pushing southward. They're being generated by a low north of our area. As we head on into the weekend, the front will continue to push off toward the east with some strong northerly winds behind it. We're going to be having gales developing north of our area this weekend, and that's going to continue to induce higher seas that you'll see here, 12 to 15 foot seas with 10 to 12 foot seas in this area. These will be pushing south to include much of our central Atlantic waters as we go on into Sunday and Monday. So as we head on into Sunday, you'll see that the front continues to push to the east, kind of a closing off low pressure back behind it a bit with continued strong to near gale force winds, with again gales possible north of 30 north. A wide area of seas of 12 to 15 feet in this area, with the southern extent of that swell, some 10-foot seas or so, beginning to reach into the tropical Atlantic and potentially impacting portions of the Atlantic passages into the Caribbean. For Monday, we no longer have the features displayed, but you can see here there'll be an expansive low pressure in our northeastern waters with winds rotating counterclockwise around it, fresh to strong winds with a very large area of significant swell and significant seas, 12 to 15, 16 feet across a wide area to the east of Bermuda, north of about 20 north. We'll continue to have some of this swell causing some rough seas for Atlantic passages throughout the Lesser Antilles as well as Puerto Rico. And finally, for Tuesday, conditions remain quiet throughout the Gulf, the Caribbean, as well as Atlantic waters to the east of about 7 to the west of about 70 west. With the continued low in our northeastern waters causing fresh to strong winds, as well as those very significant seas in excess of 12 feet. By this point, mainly to the east of about 50 west, with these swells going southward, impacting much of our Atlantic waters, and again approaching the islands, impacting some of the Atlantic passages. So to summarize, we've got significant northerly swell that will be moving into the central Atlantic waters later tomorrow, Friday, and then into the weekend, then continuing into early next week. We're going to have peak seas up to 16 feet, especially closer toward 30 north. Quiet conditions, though, for the rest of our area as we head into next week. Thanks for listening to today's briefing. We'll have our next one on Sunday, and we will have sent it out by 5 p.m.